afternoon, ma'am, and to my fellow classmates. So this is my video report, which is the part 2, introducing a lesson. There are a number of factors that you need to keep in mind as you introduce the lesson. A good lesson will be determined by the introduction. The way you introduce the lesson will guide you how the lesson will develop. Poorly introduced lessons will definitely result into failed lessons. To avoid this, make sure that in the introduction, you do the following. Establish target to learn, retrieve prior learning, gain attention, link previous knowledge to the new one, and involve the students. In establishing target to learn, it must be a priority for you as a student teacher as you introduce the lesson. You are supposed and expected to guide the students on what they are going to learn in this particular lesson. This has something to do with your lesson objectives or the success criteria. It is very important to make the students realize that they are expected of them in the lesson. And the next one is the retrieval of prior learning must always be utilized in the introduction. Even if you are introducing a new topic, do not assume that the students have never learned it before. It is very helpful to check with your students what they have already learned, whether formally or informally, on the topic you want to present. It is this factor that can be of help if you want to deliver a learner-centered instruction. Next, gaining attention should also be put into consideration as you introduce the lesson. As you enter the classroom for the first time, you may be overexcited or extremely depressed due to a number of factors. The students themselves may experience the same. It is very needful for you to make all the students develop an appetite to learn in order to gain their attention. Use a catchy introduction. Use materials that appeals to the students' emotions. For instance, if you are introducing a listening comprehension lesson, you can play audio clip for the students to listen. Once you have caught their interest, it is very easy to manage and control them. And the next one is linking previous knowledge to the new one is crucial. In the introduction, you may have learned it in philosophy or psychology of education that the student do not come into the classroom as a blank slate or tabula rasa. They may hold beliefs and practices that have direct link to the present lesson. As a student teacher, do not overlook the previous knowledge that the students bring to your lesson. Alternatively, use such knowledge to your advantage. You must make a connection between what the students already know and what they are going to learn. For example, if you are teaching a literature lesson, there may be stories or poems that have a direct reference to what happens in real life situation. It is a good opportunity to use what the students know.
Arnold to the part student involvement. Is it everyday needful as you introduce your lesson if you don't not involve? If your student and in the introduction, it is the ball in the double with if they will participate in the lesson in development you need to do all you can to involve in the student and the introduction and this can be achieved by inputting in the student to actual art in the small in the science engineers and for instance as you want to introduce integrating and the phrase the lesson you can and invite into student come to and from and to greet each other in language in the you understand you are then going to building and your lesson from what in the study have to get and out. So thank you.
So, by the way, I am Siti Aina Bagon Ismael. This is my assigned topic, which is Part 3, Lesson Development. After introducing your lesson with a vibrant vibe, it is very important to maintain the momentum you have to set. You need to develop your lesson in a way the teaching and learning process is interactive. You as a teacher, you as a student teacher must be facilitator at this point and throughout the lesson. It is advisable to devise mini student activities so as to actively involve in learning throughout the lesson. As the lesson unfolds, pay attention to follow factors. Bloom's taxonomy. Clarify of expression. You need to try as much as possible to make your presentation clear. As a facilitator of any learning process, ensure that express yourself clearly. In times where explanation of abstract concepts is required, demonstrate best skills of presentation. When your expressions are clear, it is likely that the student will easily understand and focus. Students are given two tasks when the student teacher demonstrates clarity of expression. First, the students will be struggling to hear and understand that you are expressing. Secondly, the student will try to learn an unclear expression. Promotion of student involvement. Much as you will be practicing teaching, the focus should not be on yourself as a student teacher. You are going to develop your teaching skills throughout the students. It's wise to use students in every aspect of the lesson, including as a lesson develops, it is your responsibility to promote students. Involvement, this is usually done through activities and questioning at the end of the lesson. Reflect how often involve your student and lesson development. Sequence of the lesson. Your lesson flow logically, basically. A lesson has three divisions: instructions, development, and conclusion. The sequence of the lessons involved development should demonstrate that you are building from instruction and you are moving forward the conclusion. Development must not hang out and own, but it must be supported by the instruction in the conclusion. Within the lesson development, make sure that the lesson flow logically. A typically sequence of lesson will be present, involve, assess. Firstly, you are supposed to present the subject matter, then involve your student through activities, later assess whether your student have been able to achieve that you throughout the world.